I went to Washington. We won statehood. I became the first governor.
3 terms as governor, 2 terms in the Senate, ambassador to the court of St. James, back again to the Senate, and a man who, with a snap of his fingers, could be the next vice president of the United States.
The man who is a term often used in political gatherings, and so it's appropriate as part of the title for John Ford's most provocative, poetic drama of American political conflicts, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, based on a Dorothy Johnson short story released in 1962. Starring John Wayne, James Stewart, Vera Miles, Lee Marvin, Edmund O'Brien, and the Ford Stock Company, it was the director's last Western masterpiece and, arguably, the film that marked the end of Hollywood's golden age. It was the only time Wayne and Stewart played leads together in a movie. They flipped a coin to decide who'd get top billing. Jimmy won for ads, Duke for the screen. It was Stewart's first movie with Ford, but of course Wayne had been in Ford pictures since the late 20s. When I talked to Wayne about The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, he used to complain that he had nothing to do in the film. Stewart had all the scenes. I had to beg for that last close-up. But when I asked Mr. Ford, he said, well, actually, Wayne played the lead. Stewart had most of the scenes, but Wayne was the central character, the motivation for the whole thing. The basic plot itself uses the eternal triangle, 2 men and a woman, as a kind of metaphor for America. Wayne plays the gruff yet chivalrous cowboy of the Old West who gives the proud, spirited Vera Miles a cactus rose of love. And Stewart plays the idealistic Eastern lawyer who gives her learning. Right from the start, Wayne is the one who saves Stewart after he's been savagely beaten by Liberty Valance, the fiercest outlaw on the territory, played by Lee Marvin. But Wayne and Stewart have very differing opinions on how to handle this menace to society.
You better start packing a handgun.
A gun? I don't want a gun. I don't want a gun. I don't want to kill him. I want to put him in jail.
Oh.
Yet Miles's character, like the country, is pulled towards Stewart's civilizing influence, and even Wayne's most romantic gesture in the movie is made to seem slightly crude by Stewart's superior refinement.
Brought you a little present.
Tom!
Prettiest cactus rose I ever did see.
Look at that. Isn't that the prettiest thing you ever did see?
Yeah, it's very pretty. Hallie, did you ever see a real rose?
No.
Since most of the picture plays in a flashback, beginning with Stewart and Miles, now married, coming back home for a pauper's funeral, which you find out pretty soon is Wayne's, there's no suspense about who Miles ends up with. Yet there's a strong inherent tension through the movie as to where her real emotions are. All along, Ford reserves the most poetic moments in the film for Wayne's character, like his first appearance, bringing in Stewart's unconscious body, or one of his last, as he leaves his love behind because that's what she seems to want. At the end of the picture, Stewart finally decides that sometimes a battle is needed to uphold the laws against those evils in human nature, and he goes off to face Valance alone. But Miles sends for Wayne to help Stewart again, and we see the final showdown twice, once from Stewart's and history's point of view.
This time right between the eyes.
And a bit later from Wayne's and the truth.
This time, right between the eyes.
When Stewart balks at being politically glorified for a killing, Wayne finally tells him who really shot Liberty Valance.
Cold-blooded murder, but I can live with it. Hallie's happy. She wanted you alive.
And Stewart goes off to glory, winning the girl on Wayne's chivalrous yet self-degrading act. Finally, years later, at Wayne's funeral, Stewart tells the real story to the local newspaper editor, but he refuses to publish it.
This is the West, sir. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend.
I asked Ford once if he agreed with that line, print the legend, and he said yes, because heroes are good for the country. And yet, in this last myth from America's greatest visual mythmaker, the truth behind the legend is revealed, and we find that Miles's love, is it like America's, rests finally with the wildness of the cactus rose.